Hey everybody, Rory from ANSgear. We've got brand new triggers from Exalt for the Etha 3. Will fit the Etha 2 as well. But this is the Exalt DEUCE Trigger for the Etha 3/Etha 2. I've got 6 colors up on the board right here. We've got silver, red, black, pewter, gray, whatever you want to call it, gold, and blue. And I have brought up an Etha 3 so that we can do a install on that right there. As with most of their triggers, they do come mounted to like a 3D printed little block right there. You don't use that in putting this together, so don't try to peel that thing off and try to stick it in there somehow or anything like that. The pin that comes with it, I believe you're supposed to use that pin right there. So we're going to try that. Doesn't say anything on there. Usually the pin that is in there isn't necessarily needed. You could probably still use the pin that's in here. But when we pull that pin out, we're going to push it through the bearing on here to check to see if it fits through the bearing. If it doesn't work in the bearing or it's sloppy in the bearing, I would switch over to this one instead right there. So it just pushes into this little piece that they've got right there. Boop, and that holds it in place while it's in the packaging. But so we've got our normal kind of things when we're talking about a trigger. We've got our adjustments. We've got our pre-travel. We've got our activation. We've got our post-travel. And then it is a dual bearing system right there. So it has 2 bearings in there, all riding on this post that is inside there. So let's get to it. Let's put one in. If you're a fan of the 2-finger deuce style trigger that feels more comfortable for you rather than a flat trigger or a scythe trigger, whatever it happens to be, then you can switch this out and give yourself that comfortable look the comfortable look you're looking for. All right, well, let's take this gun, take the barrel off, set it over here to the side, doesn't roll off on us. Get some tools. Pull the rear frame screw off. Front frame screw off. Separate our body apart. So our trigger sits underneath our board right here. So we do need to disconnect our board and lift our board up and over because our trigger is going to come out through the top right here. So we're going to do some stuff to that. Let's get our board out of the way first. Now we're going to disconnect our wires. I didn't bring up my pick with me, but usually you can just pop this little battery or a solenoid wiring assembly right here. Just pop it off. There we go. Or not. Come on off of there. There we go. Just pop that to the side, and we're just going to leave it right there. Then we can take our board out. The board is held in with 1 screw right here, and then it goes under 2 tabs that are at the front right here. Now, underneath the front of the board is the 9-volt battery. So if you take this screw up, because the battery is pushing up against the connectors of the board, it's going to want to bend up like this. So I always recommend taking the battery out just to eliminate the movement of the board. Take those 2 pieces out right there. And then we can take a flathead or a Phillips screwdriver, take out that screw, lift our board up and out. We do not want to pull our board backwards or anything. We want to lift it from the back, lift it up, and then bring it out at an angle. We don't want to break any of these tabs off, anything important down here by just yanking it straight out. Tilt it up, pull it out. Okie dokie. Now we need to just get the trigger out. So the original trigger has a pin that goes through it. One side of the pin is going to have what they call knurling on it. So that side of the pin if you can see right here on the pin itself, on this new one, it's got these little ridges on it. And when you push that into this this frame right here, those ridges are going to help grab a hold so that the pin doesn't come flying out and then your trigger doesn't work anymore. So if you look closely around the edge on one side or the other, you will see that one side has those edges on it and one side does not. So the side that has the edges on it, that's the side we want to come out. We don't want to push those edges through the entire trigger, through the bearings and out the other side, because we're going to ruin things. So we're going to push from the opposite side of the knurling. And on these composite bodies like this, it's usually pretty simple to just push them out. Now I say usually because sometimes it doesn't. I wonder. I don't know. You used to not be able to do that. I wonder if I just did more work than necessary right there by taking the... No, it doesn't come out. So I did have to do it. So wondering if maybe they changed it on this one and then you could pull the trigger out through the bottom, but you can't. So you got to do it that way. So let's check. We're going to throw this red one in here. Let's check the pin, the stock pin through here and see if it fits. It does fit through. It is a little bit sloppy inside there. I'm going to take this pin, run it through. This pin is tighter in the bearings. So as far as the amount of wiggle that my pin has from the one that comes with it, you can see how much play, how much slop that has inside there. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Compared to the one that comes with it, which has much less wiggle in there. So I'm going to go with this one. You could use that one, but your trigger would want to shift back and forth more when it's inside there. Now we can drop that down in. And push that through. This one is pretty tight right there, so not having like a hammer on me or push, I'm not going to want to smash this thing down in there. But it definitely is bigger on there. So as I'm running that through, because this is a little bit wider, this pin is a little bit wider than the stock one that's on there. I would definitely need like a soft mallet to push this through right there. But that's something you could do. I'm going to just push it through like that. There we go. And then you see on my trigger pin, it's still sticking out a little bit. I'm not going to hammer this into this body all the way in, because what's going to cause, or what's going to happen if I do that, is I'm going to make the hole a little bit wider, and when I put my stock one back in, it's going to be sloppy in there. So I'm not going to push it all the way through, but I just want to show you guys what you need to do to get that in there. All right, now we can take this, put this back in. We want to make sure that our solenoid wire is out of the way. And we take this, put this in just like we took it out. So if we lift it up at an angle and then pulled it out at an angle, we're going to come in at an angle, get it underneath these two tabs that are at the front right here, and then we're going to drop it down. We're going to make sure we don't catch our solenoid wire underneath there. Set it down. Take our screw that we pulled out. Screwdriver that's magnetic. Gonna catch your screw. Tighten that up. Plug our solenoid back in. gun and put our frame screws back in. It's not hard to do. This trigger install is really simple. Then you could go in and mess with your trigger settings if you want to make the pull longer, shorter, activate quicker, take longer, delay it, whatever you want to do. But that's it. If you're looking for a different shape, a lot of people like that 2-finger deuce style trigger. They don't like the flat trigger. Kind of gives it more of a rake towards the front right there. Check these out. Brand new triggers for the Etha 3 and Etha 2 will fit for that one. The Deuce trigger from Exalt. They're available in 6 different colors. Get yours today at ANSgear.com.